It's the 18th of March, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos, Pesach.
Right. Fine. Good morning. As Lou mentioned, this is Rabbi Shmuel First Yeshiva Seminary here in Yerushalayim Care Zoom. Currently, Shloshim Yom, a little less before Pesach, so we're learning Haggadah Shel Pesach, and I believe we are up to Yachatz. Yeah, Yachatz. Okay. Yeah, who would like to read? Anyone like to read?
I do.
Okay, please go ahead.
Abayis yivtza es hamatza ha emtsais lish tayim u matzpin es hachetzi hagadol le'afikomen. So the Balabayas breaks the middle matzah, um, and into two parts, and he hides the half of the bigger one as the afikomen.
So I tell you, when you're getting ready for the Seder, so it's a wise thing to look through your matzahs, especially if you got hand matzahs, the round matzahs. It's wise to look through it beforehand, a day or two beforehand, not to wait till the night of Pesach to start looking through your matzahs. Because many times, if you're getting the round hand matzahs, so some of them are not completely what we call sholem, not 100% purely round and whole, and you want to use for your lechem mishnah, you want to have the halachic requirement of having whole and perfect, or if you're making on challah or on bread, or in this case matzah, so it should be fully round and whole, not with any uh, chips, cracks, fissures in them. So if you go through your matzahs that you bought, especially again, if you're using machine matzahs, they're not such a problem. They're more or less uniform. Well, you should still check to see they're not chipped on the corners and such. But the hand matzahs are more difficult to find the perfect ones. You can find, and in general you will find, no doubt. But it's worthwhile looking beforehand. Some are better than others. And also, you want to check and see if there are any what we call kafulos, if there are any folded pieces over. We're machmir not to eat that on Pesach. Also, if the nefuchos, bubbles, there are any big bubbles on the matzah, you want to stay away from with tequila eating that on Pesach. Um, you don't have to burn it, you don't have to destroy it, but we don't usually eat it as a chashash that it could be chametz. No chashash, but still worthwhile checking for that. In addition, you can also check for what matzah you want to use for your third matzah, um, meaning the middle one that you're going to break. Sometimes the matzahs you get are have fissures in them. They're already pre-cracked. Let's put it that way, the pre-cracked, right? So sometimes you might want to use for your yachats, the middle matzah that you're going to break. You might want to use a pre-cracked one, because it makes it easier to break the matzah in half and to pick a larger piece from it, and as opposed to a smaller piece from it, because you already have a pre-fissured, pre-perforated matzah. So when you're looking through your matzahs a day or two before Pesach arrives, so it's worthwhile looking to see if we have any pre-cracked matzahs, and then you can use those for the middle matzah. Should be whole. If it's cracked, it doesn't necessarily take away from its being whole. That could be a discussion in the poskim. Have to see that inside. But if it's pre-cracked, it's much easier to go ahead and break it into half. Um, and sometimes you'll get a bigger half. And as it says here, the bigger half you put away for the avikum. Okay, that'll bring us to um, Magi.
Magi. Uh, Megala es ha matzos magbiha es hake'ara v'omer b'kol ram. So Megala is what he tells.
No, Migala Esama, you uncover the matzahs. Up till now, remember, even on a regular Shabbos, when you make Kiddush, yeah, cover the challah. So also on Pesach, you should have the matzahs covered over, making Kiddush.
Right. So he uncovers the matzah. Magbia es hakara. I don't know. What's magbia?
He picks up the Seder plate.
Seder plate. And he
And he says that
says with a loud voice,
now, couple of comments about the Seder plate. Um, Seder plate, there are two. Actually, there are different minhagim about the arrangement of the various items on the Seder plate, um, and where they are coordinated in relationship to the matzahs. So, depending on the Seder plate that you have, it could vary. If, for example, a person is just going to go um, unknowingly to buy a Seder plate, so more likely than not, he's going to get himself a Seder plate which is pre-made according to the custom of the Rizal. So that's okay, that's fine. Except if he knows that his minhag of his family is not like that. For example, the most other popular minhag is the Ramah, which varies and differs from the minhag of the Rizal. And so you have these pre-made Seder plates, and I say most likely it's going to be according to the arrangement of the Rizal. And then you have another opportunity to buy to have a different type of a Seder plate, which is a Seder plate, and it has instead of pre-indented places for the various things you're going to put on the Seder plate, it has movable separate bowls and little plates for the various different items. And the advantage in such a Seder plate like that is then you can arrange it according to your own particular minhag of how the arrangement's going to go. And there are reasons why the arrangement should be as it is. According to the Ramah, the arrangement of the Seder items are in order that you don't have to be what we call ma'avar on the mitzvahs. You don't have to pass over mitzvahs. There's a halacha that your person shouldn't pass over a mitzvah even when he's going to do another mitzvah. So therefore, that's one of the reasons why we're supposed to be careful how you place your tefillin in your tefillin bag. Meaning, when you take off your tefillin, you should place your tefillin in a way that your hands will reach and touch the tefillin shell yad before they reach and touch the tefillin shell rosh. Because you're supposed to put on the tefillin shell yad first. Therefore, if you have your bag, again, it all depends on how your tefillin bag is really arranged, the zipper, where the zipper is in coordination to the situation of the tefillin shell yad and tefillin shell rosh. But just in general, in short, when you put your uh, tefillin into the bag, they should be, as I said before, they should be put in a way that will allow you to reach and touch only the tefillin shel yad first, and not having to resort to passing over the tefillin shel rosh. right? So that's one of the most famous um, and well-known halachas of not being ma'aver to pass over a mitzvah. It's not respectful to a mitzvah if you're going to pass over it to do another, even if you're passing over it to do another mitzvah. It's not respectful to ignore a mitzvah. So therefore, you want to reach the Tefillin Shal Yad and put that on first, and then reach the Tefillin Shal Rosh, rather than having to pass over the Tefillin Shal Rosh and reach and put on the Tefillin Shal Yad instead. See here also on the Seder plate, all the things on the Seder plate are things are mitzvahs, meaning the things closer to you are on your right side, according to the Ramah. On your right side, closer to is the karpas. This karpas is the first of the mitzvahs that we are going to be doing at the Seder, aside from Kiddush. And then on the left hand side of it, equal to the karpas, is the salt water, which the corpus will be dipped into. Right. So those are the first two items. Then you have the middle two items. You have the chazeres, the morur. You have the morur, and then you'll have to its right. Excuse me. You have to the left. Excuse me. The left of the chazeres, the morur. You have the charoisis, which you dip the moror into the charoisis. Then on the top, you have on the right side, you have the Zezroya from the Zeichel of Korban, and the Zeichel, not necessarily the Zeichel of Korban, but Zeichel of the Korban Pesach. Then you have the egg on the extreme upper left hand side. That's Zeichel of Chagiga that we brought also on Pesach. So that's the Seder of Devarim according to the Ramon.
Should I
So
read again?
right. So at this point, you uncover the matzahs and you pick up the Seder plate and you say the following.
Halachma anya di achalu of hasana be'ara de mitzrayim. This is the bread of affliction that our fathers ate in the land of Egypt. Kol tichfin yesei v'ye'achol. What's tichfin?
All that are needy.
Needy. All that are needy should come and eat. Kol ditzrich yesei v'yafsach v'yifsach. I don't know.
Anyone who requires shall come and do the Pesach.
Hashta hacha. Now we're here. The Shana haba ba'ara d'Yisrael. Next year we'll be in the land of Israel. Hashta avdei. Now we are servants. The Shana haba b'nei chorin. Next year, free people. Meisir hakara me'al ha-shulchan. What's meisir?
Move. You should move the Seder plate from the table.
Remove the Seder plate from the table. Mozgin kos shnei v'kan habein o echad min ha-mesubin shoel.
So the taking away of the Seder plate, right? That's supposed to elicit some response on the people there. Usually, when you have a table set with food, right? You usually get ready to eat the food. You don't take the food away. That's number one, right? So people should be asking naturally what's going on here. I thought we came for a meal, right? I thought we came for a meal. Like years, quite a while ago, I had a guest from Kutzlowitz for Leil Seder. He didn't know too much. Interested for a person in learning about being Jewish, but didn't know too much. So he said sometime in the middle of the Seder, "What's going on here? They were supposed to eat food. What's going on?" And I told him, "You can't eat until we discuss HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Egypt." So taking off the Seder plate should elicit a question from the people who witnessed that. And if that's not good enough, Mosing Kosheni, you you fill up you fill up the kos. So that should also elicit a question. What? We just made Kiddush. When you make Kiddush twice here? Very strange. Very strange. So therefore, Kana Ben. There you naturally you understand why this follows.
What's Khan Haben?
Han here, Ben the son,
Or one of the guests?
right? Joel. They ask.
And then we have the four questions.
Right. So these four questions, I mean, it's put in as part of the standard operating procedure, but really these questions should have been asked previously based on what people were seeing already. So the Manishtana is simply a standard nusach, standard format of asking. But really, the questions could have been asked in other ways. And in fact, there's really no chiv to say the Manishtana unless no questions have been asked. Okay, let's continue on.
Uh, Meniach es hakara al hashulchan. Um, you rest the kara. What's kara?
That's the Seder plate.
You rest the seder. You put the seder plate back on the table. Uh, hamatzos. He's. I'm sorry. Tiena megulos Bish As Miras Ha Haggadah. And we um, and
You
the
have the you have the matzahs remain exposed at the time of the saying of the Haggadah.
okay, so the Seder plates put back, the matzahs stay out, and then we say Avadim Hayinu. We were slaves to Paro in Egypt, and Hashem brought us out from there with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. So we're going now into the story.
Because this is the answer. Right? This is really the answer to the Manishtana, the questions. Why is this night different in this way and that way and this way and that way? All those questions are answered by the saying of the Haggadah. Okay. And we open up and we start the Haggadah by saying that we were originally avoiding slaves, servants to Paro, and we were there in Mitzrayim. Who were we slaves to? We were slaves to Paro. Where were we slaves? We were slaves in Egypt. And it's made. They make a point of mentioning that we were slaves to specifically Paro, meaning you should realize that we weren't simply slaves, but we were what was known as the slaves of the throne. We were the royal slaves. That not just any commoner could have a Jew as a slave. Had to be authorized and certified by the throne that that they would be allowed to use the royal slaves, the Jews, for their own mundane purposes. But other than that, we were really considered to be the property of the royalty. That's why it specifically mentioned Vanim Hayinu Leparo in Mitzrayim. It didn't say simply Vanim Hayinu b'Mitzrayim. Which is perhaps, I'm not sure, what could be the possible advantage of being royal slaves?
Well, perhaps you get special treatment. They don't give you the difficult or distasteful tasks.
Really not known. I mean, it's not. You would think so. They would think that would be a possibility, right? Just trying to look and see if there's wait a minute. Well, for one sec. But so let's contrast that with what actually happened, right? We know that we were really terribly abused. No,
Right.
men had to do women's work. Women have to do men's work. So so I don't know if that was the advantage. I don't know. Maybe there was no advantage of being a royal slave. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better just being slaves to the normal, you know, to the regular people. And I'm not sure. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I'm just trying to see if there's some discussion about this. But first of all, if you want to make a note, this this is really a pasuk. It's a pasuk in Devarim. Paris Vayeschanan in Perik Vav pasuk Kaf Aleph. Actually, it's maybe worthwhile seeing that. If you have a Chumash Devarim nearby, let's take a look.
We're looking at what, Avadim Hayinu?
Yes, this is the I think it's almost word for word the pasuk there in Devarim, Parshas Vayeschanan, chapter Vav, sixth chapter, pasuk verse 21. Chapala.
Vav 21. Avadim Hayinu Bifaro B'Mitzrayim Vayotzienu Hashem Mimitzrayim Miyad Hazakah. Let's see. You shall say to your child, we were slaves to Paro in Egypt, and Hashem took us out from Egypt with a strong hand.
Right. So you see, that's almost that's I think word for word the statement here in the Haggadah, no? Yad Kazaka. Ah, but it adds Vizur Natuya. Look at that. The Haggadah adds an extra couple of words, no? Vizur Natuya?
Yeah.
That's an addition. That's an addition. Wow. Where does where does that addition come from?
I don't see it in Devarim here.
Ah, take a look in Pierke in Devarim, by a son of Pierke Pasuk Tesvav.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's Pesach. Yeah, we throw in the two. Yeah.
Zacharta ki Eved Hayisa be'eretz Mitzrayim vayetziach Hashem Elokecha misham biyad chazaka uvizro netuya al kain tzivcha Hashem Elokecha lasos es yom HaShabbos. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and Hashem your God has taken you out from there with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, Hashem your God has commanded you to make the Sabbath day.
That's a combination of both phrases, no?
Right.
Yeah,
So it could be that this phrase of the Haggadah is like a paraphrasation of several different psukim, not meaning to be a pasuk in and of itself.
Hmm.
Okay.
continue.
Yeah, let's
Um,
continue.
Ve'ilu lo hotzi hakadosh baruch hu es avosenu mitzrayim, and if um, Hashem did not take us out of Mitzrayim, hare anu uvanenu uvnei vanenu mishu badim hayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim. Then we and our children and our grandchildren uh, would be servants to Paro in Egypt.
So now, so this is not the first statement of Ani Mayinu Power of Mitzrayim Yotzi Hashem Elkenu Misham Biyad Kazak. That's like a historical statement,
Good. How are you?
right, Mayor? That's a statement of history, so to speak.
Right. Mhm.
Now, the second statement, Ilu Lo Otzi, that's not history now.
I
Can't believe I don't talk about this.
Right, that's not history. That is not history.
No.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So we're just making a contrast between the first statement and the second statement. What would you say, Lou? How would you contrast the difference between the first statement and the second statement?
Uh, the second statement seems to put an emphasis on the fact that we'd still be slaves. First statement doesn't mention that at all.
Right. And so that's what we started to say. The first statement is a statement of history. It's a historical statement.
Right.
And and I'm not sure if I'm not sure if the second statement is a statement of prophecy. Is it correct to say that that's a statement of prophecy?
I don't think so. No, I think it's a statement of the human condition that once a slave, always a slave.
That's a human condition. Once a slave, always a slave?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
Well, it says if Hashem hadn't taken us out, we'd still be slaves.
Right.
So wouldn't Abraham Lincoln have freed us?
Well, if we were still slaves in Egypt, I don't know if America would have been discovered.
Well, the point is that um, somebody else would have freed us, but we'd become slaves to whoever freed us. You don't get out of being a slave. Once you're a slave, um, you stay a slave
Mhm.
unless Hashem intervenes.
Maybe. I mean, I was just thinking maybe it's a like a sort of a statement of prophecy that we would be doomed to stay there, slaves to Pharaoh. I mean, the only way out of Egypt was through a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And there would be no other way out.
Right?
And I mean, who's really able to say that without the knowledge of prophecy?
Right. Although it's not really prophecy because it's predicting something that came true. It's not
Yeah, it's really saying something. What would have been if this didn't happen? What would have been?
right.
So is that really considered to be prophecy? I mean, if George Washington did not chop down the cherry tree, America would still be in the hands of England.
Right. That's not a prophecy. It's I don't know what it is. It's a logical deduction.
So if it's simple logic, I mean, I guess if you know enough about what the situation was, right, then maybe you could project. So I see that there's some discussion about this. Interesting. Okay. Have to maybe go look into this a little bit. No. Okay, well, I see it's a good time to stop anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Time is up.
okay, so that's where we're stopping right now. I'll see, maybe I just see there's something which might be worthwhile to explore here. Okay, maybe you'll see if I send something on to you, we'll take a diversion to another document maybe. Okay, good. let's
Okay,
take a break.
I'll check my email.
What would be, and good. Let's take a little break and we'll start to Mr. Brish shortly.
1,490.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you for the reading.
Very good. Kayak, well,
thank you, Mayor.
Good.
All right,
Yeah,
see you in a
see
few
you.
minutes.